Good morning, everyone. It's December 30th, 2020. I'm Eric. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing a little bit better today than you were yesterday. As you can see, I have old Mitch McConnell on my screen for now because, he had a problem with Americans getting a $2,000 check, right? $2,000. And not that $2,000 check would have fixed everything, because this is obviously not the case. But it would have helped some people out that could really use it. Could really use the help, And he thought it was just too much. You see, there's not much of a difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. First, it was Nancy Pelosi holding up this bill, and now it's Mitch McConnell. He didn't have any problem with the billions of dollars being sent to foreign nations. No, the straw that broke the camel's back was the American peasants getting $2,000. This coming from a man whose approximate net worth is $22.5 million. Now, this is one of the reasons why I say these people need to be stripped of their wealth. I'm not talking about the guy that invented something and got paid handsomely for their invention, or the individual who came up with a hit song, or any number of other enterprises. I am talking about people who have made a living robbing the taxpayers of this country. I'm talking about people who are using their money to subvert, or better yet, to demolish our freedom. People like Bill Gates. People who are so fucking greedy, like this Mitch McConnell, that they won't even give the American people a lousy $2,000 check. That check can do a lot of good. For example, what if a person, the only thing stopping a person from making a decent living is a car repair? $2,000 will cover quite the car repair. My washer and dryer, they suck. They suck. That could be an opportunity to upgrade to a washer and dryer that works better for some people. Not that I would spend that money on a washer and dryer. Yes, they do suck, but they work. So, this dude is worth $22.5 million approximately, and he had no problems sending Africa, and among other places, Egypt. There's a whole list of Pakistan, gender studies there, right? had no problem with sending these nations billions of dollars. But goddamn it. Goddamn the American people. Fuck them. And I'm willing to bet that they've worked together to keep stalling these things. Just my opinion. But it seems that way. And by the way, you know, the American people, the small business owner of this country, or owners rather, they have a recourse. They actually have a legal recourse that can be taken. And that's the Fifth Amendment. The Equal Protection Clause. I'm sorry, it's the 14th Amendment. Let me see if that's still up on my bill. Okay. There's a couple of amendments here that would help with this. The first one being the Fifth Amendment. Its due process clause requires that the United States government practice equal protection. The 14th Amendment's equal protection clause requires states to practice equal protection. I talked about a class action lawsuit, I believe in yesterday's video. And there's your standing right there. See, when you take somebody to court, you have to have standing first. And the small business owners of this nation definitely have standing. Them lawsuits should be filed by anyone who can do it. This fact that you are not protected equally under the law when compared to, I don't know, the Walton family or the Biltmores or the Bezos. We can go on and on with these names. The Pelosi's, the Schumers, and the McConnells. It should tell you that indeed we do live in a banana republic where the rich, the super rich, have far more protection under the law than you meager fucking peasants. So there's that. If you have not subscribed to my Bitchute channel, please do so. I only got 144 subscribers on there. For some reason, I get the same amount of views on those videos as my YouTube channel, which has 1,100 and some odd subs for some reason. I've been told by quite a few people that my YouTube channel is definitely underrated. I don't know why. Because there's a lot of people out there that swear like I do. They have similar information. Somehow, they make it into the recommended by YouTube. I'm not really sure how or why that works. But look, please subscribe over here. I keep on getting emails from YouTube to keep taking down my videos. So, and I'm kind of bad about procrastinating stuff like opening accounts to, say, Parlor, but I will get to it. And when I do, I will be, throwing the links below in the description box. So let's get to the main body of this video here. But first, before we do, I have this nifty flashlight that I want to sell to you. No, I'm just fucking with you. It is a pretty nifty flashlight. I got it for a gift, and but I'm not trying to sell it to you or any other thing, item, service. All right. Now we'll go here first. This is an article from Susan Duclos. I believe her name is Duclos. And of course, she never will mention the role our beloved president has played in, well, all of it going on. People think that he has not played any role. And yes, Donald Trump has stuck up for the American people to a small degree. But he has done more for the military-industrial complex and the law enforcement industrial complex and the prison industrial complex and the big pharma industrial complex. All these complexes. What other one? The defense industrial complex. They say this is going to get very ugly very fast. As a nation, we are woefully unprepared for what is coming in 2021. And this is why millions are on the edge, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Of course, I'm not going to read the whole article to you, but we will hit some key points here and discuss them. And this is at All News Pipeline, by the way. Let's give proper credit here. All right. She says that never before has the expression, the straw that broke the camel's back, meant so much. There's a talk of a third world war and moves in that direction, not only by the United States, not only by China, but by Israel and a whole bunch of other nations. So, and typically, as Gerald Celente talks about pretty frequently, when nations' economies begin collapsing, wars happen. So be looking out for that. Be looking out for, be looking out for nukes to be dropped. Okay, America is divided to the point to even MSM sources are starting to acknowledge the possibility of a hot civil war. Now, I would argue that this hot civil war that they say is a possibility is more like a reality. After all, we do have people from each side, the left and the right, killing each other already. It's not going to be like, you know, a declaration of war being announced. It's not going to work that way. And I'm saying that the hot civil war has already started. All right? They claim that we will soon see suicide bombers right here on U.S. soil, American suicide bombers. But I really have my doubts on that. Everybody in the United States, it seems, well, not everybody, but the majority of people, are afraid to die. You shouldn't be afraid to die. Should not be afraid to die. This is one of the biggest fears that hold people back from doing the right thing. The fear of death. What else are they saying here? Fraud election, or I said that completely backwards. Election fraud ramping up the anger and division between Americans, friends, neighbors, and family members alike. I don't let politics dictate to me whether or not somebody's an enemy. What I let dictate this is their overall conduct and attitude towards me. A pandemic, I call it plandemic, along with many other people, including doctors, which has been used by dictatorial governors across the United States to lock down their citizens. Again, you have legal recourse in the 14th and 5th Amendments of the Constitution. You are not being equally protected. If you're sitting in your home or your apartment or wherever it is you live, and you're worried about being put out on the street because of the actions of these overreaching governors, you have recourse. If you're not the sort that is willing to result, or if you're the sort that's not willing to use violence, there is that option, right? You have the option to sue. So they've been given or taken dictatorial powers to lock down the citizens under their thumb, attempting to control what they do, how they do it, where they go, when they are allowed to go, and how many people can be invited to their own private residences. I don't know about you, but my family has not followed a single dictate by the WHO, CDC, the rest of them. When our state locked down briefly here, I did not obey, and neither should you. You should never, ever obey tyrants. So, millions of people have been forced to food banks in order to survive after being put out of work by their aforementioned dictatorial governors. But, this asshole thinks $2,000 is too much after we as a people have spent an entire year being shit upon by the likes of Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and these dictator governors. Stores are again seeing panic buying and limitations on food purchases. Yep. And Joe Biden is planning to make things exponentially worse in 2021. She goes on to say that something's got to give, but it doesn't look like any of these issues and more are going to simply disappear. And they're not. Which leaves us with the only thing that can implode, and that is America itself. And again, I would argue that that implosion has begun and has been in motion for at least a decade. She goes on to pose the question, if that one last incident will cause an all-out civil war, but when and what the fallout will be, with half the nation thinking their feelings are all that is important, and the other half armed to the teeth and waiting for those feelings first cry bullies to dare attack. And of course, that is a recipe for blood in the streets. Not that there's a lack of blood in our streets. There's plenty of blood in the streets of America. Homicide rates across the nation have risen at historical paces. Now, gun control, more lockdowns, national mask mandates, and another 100 different items on radical liberal wish lists, all about to be shoved down our collective throats beginning in 2021, and this is going to get very ugly very fast. Then we go over here and find out what kind of people is pushing this whole idea of, more of the intrusive government, more of the lockdowns, more of the wealth transfers, more of everything that we don't want. Kind of people. Well, I can tell you right now, it's people like this guy. And this is Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab. And people like this guy. They may not say that they're in this person's example, that they're for any such thing, but they are. They are. And this one is coming from Zero Hedge, Tyler Durden being the author. Are we really going to build back better? Isn't that a great catchphrase, a slogan there? After a dark winter. There is a first part to this article. And I'll just summarize what they said in that. And by the way, I'm sorry, I just got the author wrong. It is by Jim Quinn via the Burning Platform blog. In part one, he laid out the case for dark winter narrative. And how an experimental vaccine marketed like a tech product by Big Pharma and their cronies are part of a globalist scheme to reset the world and force us into subservience. Now, I would argue that most of the world's population are already in subservience, right? I would say that they are going to intensify the subservience. Now we get to Biden's campaign slogan, which began to be adopted in August of 2020 and was beaten like a dead horse just before and after the rigged election. And this is probably coming from a guy that swore the election wasn't rigged in 2016 and there's no fucking way, right? But now the Democrats are saying, oh, there's no way the elections can be rigged. Please. Our elections aren't even real. Kind of like this virus, you know. Build Back Better must have played well among the useless eater, they say breather, but I prefer to call them mouth breeders. Mouth breeder demographic. When tested by Biden's handlers, and they make these slogans and they test them out to see what kind of reaction they get from them. That's old Edward Bernays tactic there. Yeah. The contemptible, compliant, corporate media expounded on the narrative as a brilliant plan by the wise statesman Joe Biden to save America from the murderous and evil Orange Man. And not that I disagree with that sentiment, because frankly, Donald Trump is murderous and evil. Just like Barack Obama, just like Bush, Clinton, and so on and so forth. They're all murderous and evil. Build Back Better has been a globalist slogan for over a decade. The definition per our friends at the United Nations is a holistic concept using post-disaster reconstruction and recovery as an opportunity to improve a communities' physical, social, environmental, and economic conditions to create a more resilient community in an effective and efficient way. Now, I'm not against using more environmentally friendly building methods. I'm not against cleaning up this nation. It really, really needs it badly. I mean, have you driven down the fucking road lately and just seen bags of trash sitting in the middle of the road, the turn lane, the deer carcasses that the vultures are sitting there pecking at, all the fucking glass, plastic, and so on and so forth. I'm not against cleaning this nation up because it really, really needs it. What I am against is being held at gunpoint and forced to do these things. They talk about our carbon footprint, right? They say that we need to lower our carbon footprint. Fair enough. But you first. You first. You stop flying on private jets first. You give up your extremely large homes and vacation homes first. Show us that you really mean what you say by sacrificing what you expect everyone else to sacrifice. They need a disaster to build a new world in the image they desire. Green, global control, depopulation, and ruled by oligarchs like Gates, Soros, Bloomberg, Schwab, and the rest of the Davos crowd. You know who else is in that crowd, right? And this asshole here, Klaus Schwab, he says the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. Yeah. Reset our world. The basis of this catchphrase, Build Back Better, has its origins in a 2009 UN press release marketing International Mother Earth Day. And this is a made-up globalist holiday, but all the holidays are made up, okay? Not just that one. So, Build Back Better, Joe Biden. Build Back Better, oh God, what's this fucker's name? It doesn't matter what his name is, Boris Johnson. Justin Trudeau. Build Back Better. And who is this fuckwad? Prime Minister Imran Khan. Build Back Better. These billionaire-funded egomaniac authoritarians must have a disaster in order to build back better. So what's this disaster going to be? It's not only COVID, because that disaster is not panning out too well for them. Too much information showing that, you know, the experts have had it wrong. Build back better. And this lady here is holding a sign that says, "This is about tyranny versus freedom." Tyranny versus freedom. Somehow, the right-wing tyranny is more acceptable than radical leftist tyranny. Somehow. But in my eyes, tyranny is tyranny, regardless of who it's coming from. And they go on to say that, welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. I mean, can you believe this shit? You will own nothing, and you will fucking like it. But I wonder, are the likes of Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and the list goes on, will they continue to own what they own? Will they give up their property to build back better? I think you all know the answer to that. I think you do. Klaus and his billionaire buddies have big plans, and this Fox pandemic crisis was the perfect opportunity to achieve their globalist, corporate, Marxist dreams. These people, these oligarchs, believe forcing their warped totalitarian ideas on all of us by any means necessary is justifiable. But it's not. It's not. But you know what would be justifiable? These individuals dangling from the end of a fucking rope on a tree branch, on a light post, wherever you, the individual, can dangle or tie this rope. That, my friends, would be completely justified. They are purposely tearing our society apart with their mandatory masking and demanding humans fear other humans as disease-carrying parasites. And I've gone all over the place without my mask. I have. Not a single fucking Karen. Not a single snitch or whatever you would like to call the male version of Karens, Kens. Not a single Ken has uttered a word to me. Seems to me that they like picking on, people who are weak. So, as a fearful, depressed, and unemployed populace is easily manipulated and bribable with their own tax money, distributed back to them by the government that has ruined their lives. Chaos, bankruptcy, and dehumanization are an essential ingredient in a successful Build Back Better or reset. Murder increases in 2020. Atlanta 58%, Chicago 56%, Dallas 24%, Los Angeles 31%, New York City 39%, Minnesota, I believe Minneapolis 74%, Philadelphia 39%, and San Francisco 32%. At the end of the day, what this is all about is to have governments surrender their sovereignty to a small cadre of elites who want to subjugate the world under their sole technocratic domination. They have initiated their so-called new normal narrative in May of 2020 to condition the masses into believing things could never go back to the way they were. And she claims, or I'm sorry, he rather, claims that this is the biggest lie of our time. But really, the biggest lie of our time and the times before us is the necessity of state, is the necessity of a government. All these people are good for is stealing your money from you and caging you. That's it. Have you taken a look at your roads lately? Have you taken a look at the incredible incompetence of state employees, the incredible inefficiencies of these institutions? If you have not, I suggest you do so. Anyway, this one's gone on a little longer than I'd hoped, but nonetheless, we are wrapping it up here. So, if you like my content, if you think I'm a straightforward, straight shooting dude, please do like. Please do subscribe. Please do share. And my PayPal link is below. Till next time, kill the state, live free.